Hello and welcome to this episode of Demystified as we explore home cooking in a modern world. Hello, I'm Linda and I'm here with my friend Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Linda.
You are very tired.
I'm tired today.
You are so tired.
Yes.
You have been non-stop in the kitchen.
Yes, not only in this state.
No, I know.
Yeah, I jumped on a plane yesterday and went up to Sydney and had a play with another chef. So that was good.
Is there ever a sort of a chef off?
No, that's a weird statement. Don't say that again.
I don't think. No, I was thinking, oh, it sounds awful.
No, it was good. It was good to get out and be amongst like-minded people, and it's always good to bounce ideas off those in a similar position. So that was good. It's also interesting to see how people interpret, what good looks like from the food perspective and stuff like that. So no, it was good. It was good. Just a quick.
That's a very quick jaunt considering this year.
Up and back in a day with a couple of functions in between. So
and one tomorrow as well.
One tomorrow, yeah. Busy.
Been busy in.
Yeah, lots of baking today. So a few things that I'm going to actually, I shouldn't say this, but considering it's for my day job.
Shh.
But
I don't think anyone will tell.
No, well, it's good to test these things out in my day job and see what refinement it needs, and then we'll put it up on Cooking with Steve.
Well, I must say those little cupcakes that you made looked amazing, and that was good.
Yeah, cupcakes aren't the most challenging thing going around, really.
For some people, they're not. For others, they just looked amazing, and it's all in it's just amazing the way you get them just so consistent. I'm always impressed.
You haven't seen them.
The
cupcakes were the last thing I made, and they're hardly consistent.
Oh, really?
No, you got to see the nicest one.
It did look
it's
good.
just to see.
I thought a whole plate of those, and everyone would be like super impressed.
What's a plat?
I know, we're all tired. It's Friday afternoon, and we just, my goodness, what a year, hey?
So a few. I think there's a couple of things that I did which we haven't done on the site. So a couple of classics, and I found at little sort of pastry supply shop over at the market. They've got some specific moulds there to do some very specific baking.
Oh, okay.
And a couple of very classic French things like a madeleine, which I love. They're just, you got to have them hot. They've got to be freshly baked with a coffee. They're delicious. And very simple to make, but I think the key with something like that is in the eating. It's not hard to make, but it's really in the eating. You got to eat them at just the right moment, because when they get cold, they're not that good, and if they're too hot, they're not that good. So it's just finding that moment. But a couple of those classics, I really, they don't take long to bake. So it's a good one if you got. I mean, you often have people just sort of do and you can leave the mixture sit in the fridge for quite a few days.
That's a really good idea, because now this time of the year, until probably kids go back to school a little bit, it's quite common that you'll have people just pop in and you get a heads up that there's a little bit of time where you can have something ready.
Yeah, well, and it's sort of ready and sort of not, but it's...
Yeah, but I know that I can do scones really quickly. I know I can do Anzacs really quickly.
Can you?
Well, they look could be, but I do know that there's some things that I can fall back on.
Yeah, they're ideal because you make the mixture well in advance. You can sit in the fridge for quite a few days.
So what's in the batter of a madeleine? Why can it do that? Am I putting you on the spot?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Almond meal, lots of butter. Lots of melted butter. I'd have to go through my files.
That's not like you.
No, it's only because I saw the madeleine moulds today, because they're in it's a very specific mould.
Yeah, shallow. They're quite shallow, but they've got quite a.
It's almost like a
shell.
Seashell. Yeah. So those cannelé is another thing which we'll explore down the track, which is a very classic French thing. Takes a bit of technique, but I don't know why. It's probably because I've been baking, so just
all
I've got
day.
baking
all day
things in my head.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, what else did we do? I don't know if we've done friands on the website, and they're another really good one. So similar to a financier mix, which we have done. Mm-hmm. You're looking surprised.
I'm going. Oh,
I know, but I know, like,
so.
I know we have done financiers before, but so we might do some friands, and friands are again in a specific mould. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you need to spend a fortune on all these tins and stuff. Like they were $6, $8 or something like that. Give them
But I think it's helpful to know that this is almond meal, because not everybody has that in their cupboards. So if you're thinking ahead, this is the time of the year to plan and get some of those ingredients when you're out shopping.
Oh, well, I mean, almond meal is probably not the one that you always have on hand, potentially.
But if you want to make some friand.
Yeah, but if like
madeleines, you want to make some madeleines.
Yeah, well, butter, flour, sugar, eggs. If you've got those couple of things, then you're more than 3/4 of the way there. A little bit of lemon zest, or you can do whatever you like with it. I can't remember the madeleine mix off the top of my head. I've made 100,000 of them, but I can't remember it.
I think when I first met you, you were making them.
Yeah.
And they were,
Yeah, they're just I know there's a pastry chef in France who's very specific about when people come in for a coffee, and he's just running a cafe, but he's very, very specific. I can't remember his name, but very specific about what temperature they're served at, and they can't be reheated. It's just going to be straight out of the oven baked.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So I'll do some of those things. Well, probably over the coming weeks, actually, because it won't take too long to film and all the rest of it. We might do a bit of a series on like little baked treats or something. Who knows? I don't know. We'll come up with something. But so we'll do that, and we've got some. And Joel's going to do a whole big thing for us.
He is.
So he's going to do a big update, and there'll be a big newsletter coming. What's the date? Next week?
Next week.
Yeah, next week. Book promo and all sorts of other palaver. So.
Yes.
That's all coming.
Yes. I have never asked you about trifle, and it just popped into my head then.
Okay, weird, right?
Well, not weird, because it's one of those desserts that I just I'm not, as you know, I'm not really that great with social media, but on my Facebook feed, I'd be getting a lot of these instant, never been better, make it every day sort of like comments for little recipes.
Mm-hmm.
And they normally involve fruit, condensed milk, sour cream or cream, and then some other kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, are they really? That just looks like a loose trifle of sorts. And I thought, one of my one of the things I love having presented or someone bringing is, and when you said the other day in another podcast, tell people what to do for desserts.
Yeah.
A trifle is one of those things that I think people look spectacular, not that difficult.
No, can do it in advance, and you can also with something like that, you can make it if you want to level it up and make it a little bit better. It's quite easy to do that. So, my understanding of trifle. Traditional trifles will have a custard of sorts in them. I've got very bad memories of a trifle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I grew up next to Greek neighbours, and some of my fondest food memories are from them, and also some of my...
Oh, not so.
Not so. And because what they did was they used to soak their trifle in booze. And when you're young, it's quite overwhelming. So there was quite a lot of... I think the sponge or the biscuit they used or whatever they used in their trifle was soaked in booze. And I can almost taste it now. Like, it's very, very distinct to me.
Yeah.
But, you could go and buy custard powder, right, and just make a custard. Or you could make a vanilla bean custard and add some flavourings to it and, some lime leaf and ginger and spice or whatever. Like, you could actually make it crispy.
You can actually buy it in the dairy shops too.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Just saying.
Yeah. Okay, good. But yeah, so custard, some sort of sponge is my understanding. And jelly.
Yes. See, that is a long forgotten, often overlooked, yummy dessert.
Fruit.
Yes.
Cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely, from our last discussion, what would be a good, and because it can be a showstopper. The thing is, I think often what people do with something like that is, I think they can lose their way in, like, I've seen all manner of trifles and things like pavlovas and all those sort of, fruit cream based desserts, because really, like, as my partner says, the pavlova is just a vehicle to carry cream. Like,
I know she does. Same with scones.
Yeah,
it's the reason she loves scones.
Yeah, she loves scones, but not because of the scones, because of the cream. But I think what you can do is, if you maybe shrink down the fruits that you're using, so focusing on one or two fruits, depending on where you are seasonally and all the rest of it. So I wouldn't be doing the whole mixture of things. Like, I like the idea of, like, if you're going to do a trifle, I like the idea of custard, a berry-based jelly, and raspberries and strawberries. Like, rather than trying to, everyone's seen the pavlova, which is very common, especially at Christmas here.
Yes.
Everyone's seen the pavlova with 98 different fruits on it. Mm-hmm. I actually like the idea of just honing in on one or two. Make your pavlova, like, why wouldn't you just make it mango and passion fruit?
Yeah.
And you can, I think just refining down the flavours is maybe worth exploring a little bit.
Well, I think my memory of trifle is the same as yours.
Yeah.
My Auntie Margaret was the one famous.
I don't even
family.
know what booze people used. I can't.
Brandy.
Okay, there you
In
go.
my family, it was brandy, and so Auntie Margaret would soak in a lot of brandy.
Yeah. Very
a
jarring.
Sponge. Yeah, sponge. It was, and it was the old. The fruit was the tins of fruit salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing was. Everything. This is back 200 years ago when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
But it was a fruit salad from tins.
Yeah.
It was really heavily soaked sponge. It was handmade custard, and sometimes it was so tough that the spoon would spring back off.
Yeah.
That was always interesting. And sometimes it was really runny.
Yeah.
But most times she had it pretty well now. And then it was either red. If it was Christmas, it was red and green jelly chopped up into pieces. For Christmas
okay.
Look.
Yeah.
Man, fancy. Otherwise, it was just one flavour of jelly.
That's actually a topic.
And then bung of cream.
A topic we might explore in the not too distant future is how to use gelatin and agar and thickening agents like that, and how to understand the right ratios for what you're doing.
That's a really good idea, because I've never even heard you mention agar.
Yeah, because a lot of people these days, because gelatin isn't, it comes from animal hooves, so it isn't vegetarian.
No, it's
or
right.
vegan for that matter. So there's a lot of substitutes now, especially seaweed and there's all sorts of gel and gums and all manner of thickening agents which you can use. But you need to understand, and even if you are using gelatin, like I use gelatin, whatever, also understanding that, because some of that stuff I think can confuse people, because powdered gelatin is different to leaf gelatin, and within leaf gelatin, if you actually look closely at the packet, they'll have silver grade, gold grade, titanium grade, and supposedly all of those have different setting not points, but they have a different setting consistency depending on which grade of gelatin you buy, which is an absolute lie, just in case anyone's listening. Silver leaf gelatin and titanium leaf gelatin. Titanium is generally the most expensive. They do exactly the same thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's the weight of the gelatin that you need to know. and when to add it to things. You add leaf gelatin to something that's really hot, it will separate. And you'll end up with a layer of clear jelly, and then let's say you're trying to set a panna cotta as another good Christmas dessert. You're trying to set a panna cotta. If you add that gelatin when it's really hot, it will separate from the cream and the milk, and you end up with a clear layer of jelly, and then a sort of not even that nice panna cotta wobble set of the cream. And
I actually think this is not just a podcast, Paul. I think this is a tutorial.
Could be.
Because you make a fantastic panna cotta, and it's one of my faves.
Yeah, and there's some of those thickening agents too.
I think you need to see it sometimes. I don't think you can just talk about it
Some of those thickening agents too, especially the more sort of modern ones, if you like, although they're not modern because they've been used in bulk food manufacture for eons. It's just that they're now more accessible to people. But some of those you can also have something that is set but serve it warm. So with gelatin, if you heat it, it will melt. But with some of the other setting agents, it won't melt if it's warm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some you can blend into make like what they call fluid gels. So it's like a thickish puree, but you use a minute amount and you make essentially what you would term as a jelly. And you can blend it and it makes a really silky puree, and you can serve it warm. So it's got a thicker mouthfeel. So you can take something like beetroot juice, which is very liquid, you can set it and then blend it, and you've got a beetroot puree that is the purest of purees because it's just beetroot juice, and you haven't cooked off any of the flavour.
Okay, or colour or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is definitely a tutorial, because seeing
you
how
just don't
you
want to
it,
do a podcast because you don't know anything about it.
and I can watch. But I think that's one of the things I know I always learn from watching what you do, as much as talking to you and then hitting you up afterwards going, okay, show me. So I liked it with the eggs, when you showed me the fried eggs. That was really interesting because that worked really well, and now that's how I do them.
Oh, very good.
No? Went home and I said, Dougie, this is a new way. Doug's like, no, you crank the heat up. I said, no, we've been wrong. And I made them, and we're like, oh, that's really good. so sometimes...
I love how hard Doug is to convince of these things.
Oh, you saw him today, and he said it's not the best thing you've made, but, you make better things.
Yeah, but that's true. Yeah, I know that.
But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But I do like the idea of that being a tutorial, because that's something that I have never really comfortably cooked with gelatin, because I just don't know how to use it properly in what I'm doing. So I will, if I'm making a trifle, I will just go the aeroplane jelly.
Yeah. And
I don't use the tin fruit. I do buy fresh fruit.
Yeah.
But we have moved on from the 1960s, thank goodness. But I will still go for Foster's custard powder and make my custard.
Yeah, and look, if you want that
airplane jelly.
Yeah.
And that's how my Auntie Margaret made it, and she sometimes put walnuts in, and that's the
weird.
Walnuts with the brandy was like no, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
No,
but look, I mean, if there's nothing wrong with,
you can put anything in. You can do different varieties of trifle. You can have chocolate chips and. I
like how some of these things. Realistically, like how some of these things end up becoming something else with its own trendy name. Now, I know there's probably a few people out there that are going to get a bit cranky with what I'm about to say, but if you look at things like your trifle, your pavlova, all of a sudden, if you decide to smash it all up and make it look like something a bit messy, it's now a trendy eating mess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I love about the pavlova, because when I make a pav,
if it doesn't work,
I can just put it all into a big bowl, smash it up, mix it with cream and fruit. It's going to how it's going to look anyway.
Yep.
And say,
it's an eating mess.
Eat mess.
Yep. Happy days.
Exactly, and it looks good.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's got fresh fruit going through it, like strawberries or something.
Yeah.
Very colourful.
Yeah.
So it is a good way of masking disasters.
But I think, like, even if, and that's probably a good hack for, a shortcut for Christmas. There's nothing wrong with using aeroplane jelly, right? Like,
what? There's nothing. Of course not.
No, yeah, but
Well, any jelly. I just know aeroplane because that's the one we grew up with.
Well, that's the one everyone in Australia grew up with. But there's nothing particularly wrong with that. But if you want your jelly to be
if you want to make
proper
it to
fruit
the next
flavoured.
level. What?
Well, I'm not accusing anyone who makes aeroplane jelly that there isn't a whole lot of fruit in there. I'm not 100% sure that there is or isn't, but
we're not saying anything bad about it because we love it. But
if you want, if you know how to use gelatin, it's really easy to make a really nice jelly.
Yeah.
And jellies are an interesting texture, super popular in Asian cuisine. That gelatinous. If you don't just look at gelatin as a thing, and especially we look at it generally as a dessert thing, but gelatinous
ham hocks and things.
Gelatinous, silky mouthfeel type thing going on, especially in Japanese cuisine, a lot of Asian cuisines. That texture is one of its own. There isn't anything else like that. It's kind of, And look, I'm not talking about going back to the days where, if you look at some, and I might bring some really old chefs' cookbooks, and everything's covered in aspic. That's just weird.
Well, thank goodness, because my childhood, my dad used to love pressed tongue.
Yeah.
And he'd get, in aspic, he'd get these tongue and he'd cook it up and then chop it up into little pieces and make an. Is that right? Aspic?
Aspic, yeah.
And then put some jelly in it, and then he'd put it into the press, and then he'd slice it all off and want to put it into our lunches.
Yeah.
My brother and I were not having any of that.
Yeah.
Just Vegemite sandwich, Dad.
Yeah.
That's for you. Take that to work.
Aspic, it's not. It wasn't a good time. It wasn't a good time. Aspic, the bright green and red cocktail onions, right? the uber thick custard that you can't get a spoon in the trifle, that is soaked in so much rum that it would make a sailor drunk. Those sorts of things, I think I'm pleased that time has passed for those.
Yes, we are, and our children will be forever grateful as well for not having.
And the other one is smoked cod. Now I know there's some really good smoked fish these days.
I actually really like cod.
But
that
orange smoked cod. That's probably on my list of just never can, never will.
Yeah, never do that again.
They go into the you can't polish a turd bowl. You can't make them. I don't care who you are. You can't make them good ingredients. You just can't. That's a shocker, that stuff, and that's childhood scarring. But that was my parents who, we didn't have a lot of money, and they wanted to get fish into our diet, and it was the cheapest thing to do. And my mum did she made a fish pie, and it was, but I can remember walking into the house after school, and as soon as you open the front door, that's what you'd smell, and you'd be like, oh, jeez, we're gonna have bloody orange fish tonight. It was just. It's just
not
terrible.
On, is it? No.
Now you've got your phone ringing.
I know.
Just please. Come on.
I bought it in for one reason only.
Yeah. Anyway, so we haven't really achieved anything today.
But I think we have decided that another topic's going to be a tutorial for you, and on gelatin and agar. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Yeah.
But
and other thickening agents.
Yeah, that would be good. And the joy of sometimes looking back at those simple, easy things, particularly this time of the year, like trifle and pavs.
Yeah.
To share.
Yeah.
And have.
A trifle's a good one. I haven't seen a trifle in a long time, actually. I like the idea. I think Nigella Lawson does a really good one. Really, really good one. Because I think it's is it British? Trifle British?
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
I'd imagine so. So, but there's just so many varieties. You can really turn it into something colourful, have a theme.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's but it's underrated. People don't often talk about making a trifle or taking one. Even trifle bowls.
Yeah, I think they're still around, aren't they?
Yeah, but you can really use anything. But just to show it off,
Well, you could even do little individual ones if you wanted to.
You can.
Might be easier to store in your fridge, which we talked about the other day.
Particularly in a house that's got a small fridge. But those are the things to think about for the weeks and months coming up.
Yes.
Well, happy cooking and good luck with your events.
Yes.
And please bring back the leftovers.
That may well happen.
There won't be any. There's never any leftovers when you go out with them.
Well, we'll see what happens.
No, there's never any leftovers. They put them in their pockets and take them home, I know. Because that's what I used to do. So, all those years ago. Well, happy cooking, everybody, and thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Linda.
No, thank you, Paul.
No, thank you, Linda.
No, thank you.
Oh, God.
Thanks for listening. Take care, everybody. Happy cooking.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this podcast as we explore home cooking in a modern world. We'd love you to subscribe, and for more information, please go to our website, cookingwithsteam.com.